Welcome to another installment of the Checkoff Check-in. And checking in this week is Keenan McRoberts, Vice President, Strategic Alignment at the United Soybean Board. Keenan, Vice President of Strategic Alignment, what does that mean day to day?
Basically, I lead our investment strategy team, which means across all our areas of investment for feed, food, fuel, industrial uses, and export promotion, I help inform how the board invests against our strategic plan to lead to the highest possible return on investment.
Good stuff. Let's talk about soy's benefits in animal nutrition. Tell me about the advantages of soybean meal in animal diets.
So, as a reminder, the soybean consists of about 80% meal and 20% oil. That 80% meal almost entirely feeds animals. Now, the breakdown for domestic use, we've got close to 60% feeding poultry. That's mostly chickens, but also some turkeys. We've got just under 20% feeding pigs. Then we've got about close to 20% broken between dairy and beef. And then the balance goes into industrial uses and aquaculture. So that meal is almost entirely, about 97%, feeding our number one customer, which is animal agriculture. We manage an animal nutrition working group. That group consists of some of the leading nutritionists at major companies that you'd all be familiar with, like Tyson, the Mash Ops, Cal-Maine, ADM Animal Nutrition, and others. So we work with these nutritionists that account for approximately 50% of formulated soybean meal in feed rations across all species. They really advise us on how best to advance the research and the marketing agenda that serves and generates solutions for animal agriculture.
Gotcha. So nutritionally it fits, and financially it's a multi-billion-dollar piece of business for U.S. soybean producers, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. In one of the most recent market years, we were approaching $16 billion in soybean meal value, so it's huge. So the amino acids and the energy that soybean meal contributes are the historic value drivers on the nutritional side. Yep. And we're moving toward health outcomes and toward resiliency. And by resiliency, I mean, how do animals perform under health challenges, things like respiratory disease, things like heat stress? And what we're seeing is that there are performance benefits where you've got more meal in the ration relative to alternative feed ingredients. And we've got a lot of evidence supporting that now, especially on the swine side. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit specifically about swine nutrition. There is some promising new research that highlights the added value of soybean meal in a swine ration in hog health. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is really a beautiful thing. There are some of these additional health benefits. They're likely driven by bioactive or functional compounds in soybean meal that allow animals to perform better and more efficiently partition energy toward productive outcomes like growth, rather than fighting off disease or getting over periods of stress, and partition that into growth and productivity more efficiently. And we're really advancing a marketing track based on a number of both academic and commercial studies, partnering with a number of the companies that we work with as well.
Right. Okay. Talk to me briefly about the role that soybeans play in not just feeding a growing population of animals around the world, but just a growing global population.
So in much of the developing world, the population is growing very fast, combined with a growing middle class, and with that, a desire to start to consume higher quality protein. And that protein typically tends toward animal protein. These countries tend to be deficient in protein supply and in feed ingredient supply to feed those animals. So this is where the collaboration with our export partners like the U.S. Soybean Export Council, the U.S. Meat Export Federation, and the U.S. Poultry and Egg Export Council comes in, because basically it helps bridge that gap between the growing demand for protein to meet food security needs in developing countries and what's available locally. A lot of that's achieved through trade. As a reminder, U.S. soy exports approximately 60% of its products. And most of that's in the form of whole soybeans, but also a large chunk of soybean meal and a little bit of oil as well. So that's a really important demand channel for U.S. soy here domestically, and it plays a critical role in filling that protein gap and sustainably feeding the world as the population grows and as economies grow. So we're excited about that. That's really a key contributor to global growth that U.S. soy can play a key role in.
Yeah, it's fantastic, Keenan. You know, it's been great checking in with you on the Checkoff Check-in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chip. Really appreciate the opportunity.
All right, that is Keenan McRoberts, Vice President, Strategic Alignment at the United Soybean Board. To learn more about the soybean checkoff, go to unitedsoybean.org. Check back soon for a new checkoff check-in. Now, let's get back to AgriTalk.